Hello, students. Welcome to this another discussion video on the topic responsibility accounting. So first, let's define what a responsibility accounting is. So it is a specific unit of an organization assigned to a manager who is held accountable for its operations and resources. So take note that um, in a responsibility accounting, there is a point person who is the manager. And this manager is responsible or accountable for the operation of that specific unit of an organization. It may be a department in an organization. So, itong manager na to, siya yung bahala no, to manage the resources entrusted to a specific unit of an organization. So, of course, being a department or a specific unit, meron siyang iba't ibang roles and iba't ibang objectives, targets no, to achieve towards the achievement of the overall goal of the entity. So, going to the essential knowledge, I have here a responsibility center. So, ano ba yung responsibility center? So, responsibility center refers to a specific unit of an organization assigned to a manager who is held accountable for its operations and resources. So, in short, when you say responsibility center, this refers to the department no, or specific unit in an organization. So, each manager's performance is judged by how well he or she manages those items under his or her control. So, within that specific department, yung manager ay bibigyan siya ng certain degree of authority. So for those things or for those resources or items which is under his or her control, so doon siya merong responsibility or merong accountability. So responsibility accounting here is central to any effective profit planning and control system. So it is a system that recognizes decision or various decision centers through organization and traces cost, revenues, assets, and liabilities where pertinent areas of response by pertinent they are pertinent by areas of responsibility. So it operates on the premise that managers should be held responsible for their performance, the activities of their subordinates, and all activities within their responsibility center. So, yung idea ng responsibility accounting is parang ano siya, no? Um, Sinegregate or dinivide ang entity into a certain department or specific departments and then nag-assign siya ng point person. So whatever will happen to that specific department or unit is an accountability of the point person who is the manager. So just take note that each unit will have different um say objectives or um role no na um kanilang parang magiging papel sa entity. So based on that role, no, based on that responsibility or task assigned to a specific unit, so yung manager ay i-judge or i-evaluate na kung paano niya na-manage yung resources entrusted to him. Of course, as long as it is within his or her control. So through responsibility accounting, managers will comply to set managerial targets and formulate strategies to attain the firm's overall objectives. So control mechanism will be provided, which will serve as the basis in evaluating actual results or performance. So para siyang ano class, no? Itong responsibility accounting, para siyang decentralized, no, na parang setup niya ay decentralized na system wherein um, binibigyan ng certain degree of authority or autonomy ang isang unit or department, no? Binibigyan niya ng authority ang manager to act, um, to decide, no? Decide sa mga bagay-bagay na um, within his authority. So, bibigyan siya ng specific levels. So, for example, um, in a lending institution, no, a certain branch, for example, no, ang mga loanable amount, if hindi siya lalampas ng 20,000, say for example, pwede ng manager na lang yung mag-decide whether to approve such loan or hindi. No? So, yung management, magsaset siya ng specific level or degree of parang if ganito lang yung transaction, if ganito lang yung amount ng transaction, then bibigyan na ng authority si manager to decide, no, kung ano yung ah, sa tingin niya ay best, no, na decision for the company. Of course, considering the targets, no, the goals na binigay sa kanya. So, what are the advantages of responsibility accounting? So, first, it facilitates delegation of decision making. Kasi nga, decentralized siya. So, hindi ka na, or yung manager merong autonomy to decide, no, for the good or for the department. No? So, again, as long as it is within his or her authority, no? So, yung binigay sa kanya ng authority. So it helps management promotes the concept of management objective wherein managers agreed to a common set of goals and their performance evaluated on the basis of the attainment of the goals. No? So meron na siyang binigay na goal. So ito yung target, ito yung goal ng isang manager. So bibigyan niya ng authority, autonomy, no, the manager, no, na gawin yung anumang mga strategy na pwede niyang i-implement para ma-achieve yung goal na sinet ng top management for him. So it aids establishing standards of performance which are used in evaluating the efficiency and effectiveness of different units in the organization. It also permits effective use of management by exception, which provides that the manager will maximize his efficiency by concentrating on those operational factors which are deviations from the plans. No? So parang mapo-point out agad and ma ma-i-emphasize, no, or matatag agad kung sino yung dapat managot, no. So sa mga deviations na or sa mga hindi um ma-achieve na mga objectives, no, ng company. So merong isang point person who will be um dealing with those exceptions or with those deviations. What are the disadvantages, no, of responsibility accounting? So the negative effect of some decision may in one sub made in one subunit and then to other subunit or to the whole organization as a whole. So since merong goal, no, na sinet for a specific responsibility centers or for a specific department. So baka yung manager ay hindi na lang magmamind kung ano yung effect ng decision niya sa buong or ano yung effect, ano yung overall effect niya sa buong entity or sa other department. Kasi yung concern ng manager is only na dapat yung target niya, no, target ng department niya ay ano talaga ma-achieve. So without considering kung ano yung negative effect naman nito sa other subunits or sa other departments or to the whole organization. So decentralization necessitates a more elaborate reporting system. Hence, the cost of gathering and reporting data increases. So kasi nga decentralized siya, so scattered yung collection ng ating data, no, ng mga information na needed. So it would require a very what you call this systematic, no, na collection of information. and it will, of course, entail cost. So the problems of job duplication or overlapping of functions are usually encountered. So since nga each department, each activity center will ensure no na everything will be taken care of within the department or within the responsibility center. So there's a possibility that maduplicate no or madoble yung role sana na like for example a specific role sana na pwedeng isang tao lang ang gagawa no for the whole organization na so baka posibleng um merong parang specific person na inassign per department na sana na instead no puwede namang gawin na isang tao na lang for the whole department. So yan, there's a possibility of job duplication if decentralization is being implemented. So what are the prerequisites to the initiation and maintenance of an effective responsibility accounting system? So one, there should be a well-defined organizational structure. So this requires that the spheres of jurisdiction which are set forth in the organizational chart must be clearly established and that a manager's financial responsibility be defined in advance. Of course, para alam ng manager kung ano yung scope and limitations niya, no? So, pagdating sa decision making. Second, there must be a well-defined and well-established standards of performance in revenues, cost, and investment. So this way, mas madali nating ma-evaluate no, yung performance ng manager. So this requires an integrated plans for the control of operations as well as the necessary procedures to effectuate the plan should be established and maintained. So para na nga, mas madali nating ma-evaluate yung performance ng manager no, for a specific na revenue or specific responsibility center. Third, a system of accounting that identifies any revenues, expenses, and assets to specific units in the organization. So yan, dapat yung chart of account, for example, nakatag siya na this is for specific department, no? Para mas madali siyang um, like for example, pag um, mako-collate na yung data, like for example, meron siyang office supplies, no? Or office expenses na account. So at least, dapat may mga sub-accounts yan na naka-assign per department. So para mas madaling matrace nga, no? Yung tracing kasi ng cost dito, dapat madali siyang gawin. Kasi nga, dinefine mo na siya or sinet mo na um, for this responsibility accounting to work. So, dapat nakatag yan, nakaspecify na siya per department. So, para madali nilang mag-generate ng report per department. So, a system that provides for the preparation of regular performance reports. No? So still related to number three, ito lang more of internal na reports siya. No? So, this requires that a system of preparing the regular reports showing the planned results. No? So, i-compare natin yung budgeted versus the actual results. And then, of course, kung magkano yung variance. Kasi this way, parang mapapanagot mo no, yung manager ng specific na responsibility center. Now, talking about responsibility centers, so ano-ano ba yung mga responsibility centers and their specific, no, how they are being evaluated? Kasi iba-iba naman yung mga roles, no, or objectives ng iba't ibang responsibility center. So, they are being evaluated depending on anong klaseng responsibility center siya. So responsibility centers are classified no into a cost center, pwedeng profit center, pwedeng investment center, or pwedeng revenue center naman. Okay? So isa-isahin natin silang apat no. So first is yung cost center muna. So, ano ba yung cost center? So, yung cost center is a unit, no, a department within the organization wherein the manager is responsible for minimizing the cost or expenses. So, in short, ito yung mga departments or units, no, sa organization na wala siyang revenue. So ang kanilang concern is more of na ang kilang department are more on spending siya, no, or disbursement. So makaka-incur sila ng mga expenses. So itong manager na maa-assign sa cost center, ang kanyang goal is dapat ma-minimize as much as possible, no, i-minimize niya yung cost or expenses, pero meron siyang certain output, no, na dapat niyang ma-achieve. So, we have here an example, maintenance department of a manufacturing company. So, of course, pag maintenance department siya, so yung kanyang, wala siyang revenue, no? It's more of incurrence of repairs and maintenance na cost. So, as much as possible, dapat ma-maintain niya yan at a lower amount or minimal amount without of course sacrificing the output, or of course dapat magagawa pa rin niya yung role niya pero as much as possible at a minimum amount cost or expenses, or a library section of a school, no, or accounting department of a trading concern. So these are um departments or units which are generally cost center simply because yung kanilang role, no, sa entity ay of course makaka-incur sila always ng cost. So how do we evaluate the performance, no, of a cost center? So the performance of a cost center is evaluated through responsibility cost report. So yung gagawin, meron tayong standard cost and flexible budgets na. So based on those standard cost and flexible budgets, i-compare natin, no, yung actual performance or actual cost na na-incur ng cost center na to. No? So to have a fair evaluation of the cost center performance, the variance analysis report should highlight those costs that are controllable by the manager of the department concerned. So, ano lang siya klaso, 'di ba sabi natin, yung manager sa certain department, meron lang siyang specific level of authority or mga things that he can control. So, yun lang ang he held accountable siya. So, pag mag-evaluate tayo ng performance, so for example, the um, maintenance department, no? Say for example, maintenance department. So, may mga cost na transfer lang din sa kanila. Like for example, yung electricity, no? So, of course, each department will um, share, no, sa cost of electricity kasi isa lang naman yung plangka, no, isa lang naman yung bill ng company. So most probably i-allocate 'yon. So for those type of cost or expenses incurred, hindi na natin i-charge or hindi na natin parang i-held accountable yung manager kasi nga beyond the control naman yan ng manager. Okay, so yung mga cost lang na meron siyang say ang i-evaluate natin sa kanya. So, i-include natin sa kanyang evaluation. So, we have here types of cost, no, in a responsibility cost report. So, meron tayong tinatawag na controllable cost. So, ito yung cost which may be directly regulated at a given level of managerial authority. So, for example, a certain cost center. So, yung manager niya ay binigyan ng authority to decide, no, for over this particular cost. So, like for example, pag repairs and maintenance department niyan, so the type of, say for example, the brand, no, or yung mga cleaning supplies na niya bibilhin nila, of course, merong say dyan yung manager ng maintenance or yung head ng maintenance department. So, So these are things that, or these are costs that they can control, no? The way they spend or they use those supplies. Non-controllable cost naman, these are costs that may not be directly regulated at a given level of managerial authority. So yun na nga, hindi niya control, no? Pinasa lang sa kanila yung cost na yan. So most probably, hindi natin siya ma-held accountable for that. Another is direct cost. So these are costs that are specifically identified to a certain responsibility center. So thus, all controllable costs are direct costs, but not all direct costs are controllable cost. Okay, klaro yun, no? So pag direct cost, meaning controllable, pag controllable cost pala, lahat yan ay direct cost na. Kasi most probably merong these are the costs really that are really incurred, no? Lahat ng controllable costs most probably are direct costs kasi nga yung responsibility center na yun talaga ang naka-incur sa kanila. But then not all direct costs are controllable kasi posible na tagged siya to repairs and to the maintenance department to a certain responsibility center pero hindi niya talaga or hindi niya control, 'no, binigay niya lang or inassign lang yun sa kanya. So, wala siyang say as to whether to incur it or to not to incur it. So, another is indirect cost. So, these are composed mostly of costs that are merely allocated to the responsibility center under consideration. So, yun yung mga cost na um dini-divide lang 'no, or ina-allocate lang sa various or several departments. So therefore, these are non-controllable by the manager of the segment or the unit 'no, to which the cost is allocated. So again, lahat ng controllable costs are direct, but hindi lahat ng direct are controllable. So therefore, hindi lahat ng direct cost or ma-held accountable ang manager. So we have here a sample problem on how do we evaluate no the certain responsibility center, specifically a cost center. So we have here a comparison between the budgeted and actual cost of the department, no, the mixing department, which was headed by Mr. Roland Lopez. So ito yung budgeted, ito yung actual niya. Okay? So looking at the figures, salaries natin ay the same lang. So walang variance. Ito merong variance. Budget is only 8,000 but then the actual is 12,000. So there's a variance of 4,000. So yung telephone and postage and telephone also merong variance din. Repairs and maintenance, may variance, no? Yung actual budgeted niya is mas malaki compared sa actual, so that is favorable. Yung depreciation niya, mas malaki yung budgeted compared sa actual, that's favorable also. Light and water, mas maliit yung budgeted kasi sa actual then that is unfavorable na variance. So we have here additional information. The decrease daw in depreciation cost is due to the disposal of equipment during the period. So the disposal was approved by the Vice President for Production when the mixing department reported that the equipment was not functioning efficiently. So the increase in light and water cost is due to the adjustment in power rates imposed by the LPC. So this one is the power company, no? Determine the net amount of cost variance that must be considered in evaluating the performance of the mixing department. So basically, class, what we will do here is to determine whether this cost here ba or expenses are controllable or non-controllable. Kapag controllable, so that is to be included, no, in our evaluation of the performance of the mixing department. Pero pag hindi naman controllable, then hindi natin siya isasama. Okay? So ito yung solution natin. So again, these are the variances here. Kasi cost yung ating dinediscuss. So most probably, pag mas malaki yung actual compared sa budget, that is unfavorable. So baliktad naman, no? Pag mas malaki yung I mean, pag mas maliit yung actual compared sa budget, then that's favorable. So in this case, sinegregate natin siya, no? Yung mga controllable tsaka non-controllable. So the key actually here is to be able to identify whether the cost is controllable ba or non-controllable, whether direct or indirect. Okay? So for the direct cost, so ito yung mga costs which are traceable talaga sa mixing department, no? Yung salaries and wages, supplies, postage and telephone, repairs and maintenance, tsaka depreciation. Okay? Kasi you can really trace that there, no? In that particular department. So, whereas light and water, kasi isa lang naman yung kwentador, no? Sa isa lang yung billing ng kuryente tsaka tubig. So, most probably this is indirect cost and kasi inallocate lang yan sa kanila. So, among these variances here, so ano yung variance na accountable, no? Si manager. So, take note, only those controllable costs are accountable si manager, no? Yung held accountable si manager. So, most probably, held accountable si manager sa supply, sa postage and telephone. This one is favorable. So, the net variance, no, ng manager na to is 3,700, which is unfavorable. So, ito lang yung amount na held accountable, no, kailangang i-justify ni mixing department manager. Kasi ito lang yung mga cost na meron siyang control. Tapos, lumabas na mas malaki siya compared, mas malaki yung actual compared sa budgeted. So, yan for a cost center. So, let us proceed naman for a profit center. So, pag profit center yung unit or segment or department, no? Um, within the organization, yung manager naman is responsible for the generation of revenues and control of costs incurred in the center. So, parang kung cost center, isa lang yung concern niya, more of cost lang. Pero pag profit center, dalawa yung concern niya, no? One is the revenue and then the other one is the cost para maka-generate siya ng mas malaking profit. No? So examples of this are loans and discounts department. Kasi loans and discounts department, mag-generate sila ng revenue in the form of interest income na because of the loan. Pero meron din silang mga expenses incurred, no? Meron silang mga office expenses like pag-process ng loan. So, sweldo ng kanilang mga tao. So, yan. So, meron din siyang cost na mai-incur. Or ladies wear section of a department store. Kasi meron din siyang, no, matatrace natin kung magkano yung revenues or magkano yung sales nila in a month, for example. Or a college department of a university, no? So, matitrace natin yung tuition ng mga estudyante per department. And then, also, meron ding cost no, na mai-incur per department ng university. So, performance of a profit center is measured by using the contribution approach to cost allocation or the determination of the profit center's contribution to indirect costs of the company. So since we are talking about profit here, so everything should be accounted, no? From the revenue to the direct costs or controllable costs to the indirect costs which are allocated to a specific department. So the operating performance of the profit center is generally considered satisfactory if it is able to generate or even exceed the expected contribution to indirect common or to indirect cost or common cost of the company. So, mas malaking contribution margin, ibig sabihin, mas malaking mako-contribute, no, para sa mga fixed cost or common cost, no? Mas malaki yung mako-cover niya sa common cost. So, the better. Of course, the higher the contribution reported by a profit center, the better, no? Is the performance of the manager. Next, responsibility center is an investment center. So this is a unit or segment within the organization where the manager is responsible for the control of revenues, cost, and investment made in that particular center. So examples of this are the corporate headquarters or the division of a large decentralized organization such as branch offices of commercial banks, for example. So yan, no? Isang buong operation talaga siya or pharmaceutical division or subsidiary companies. So in addition to performance reports, no, so the performance of investment center is also measured with the department or to determine i-determine din natin yung return on investment, the residual income and economic value added, no. So ito yung mga other parang ways of evaluating your investment center. So aside sa mga variances, no, performance reports, pwede na nating i-evaluate yung investment center using this one, no? Return on investment, residual income, and economic value added. So paano ba yun i-compute? So later dito sa baba. So ano yung objective ng investment center or business unit? So first, to motivate managers to exert high level of effort to achieve the goals of the firm. Kasi mas ano siya, di ba? So for example, isang branch. So yung branch manager, siya yung bahala para mag-perform, no? When I say perform, dapat malaki yung profit na marireport ng entity or ng branch na yan. So provide the right incentive for managers to make decisions that are consistent with the goal of the top management. So of course, no, managers who will be performing well will be rewarded, no, para mas ma-motivate din yung mga managers to act on behalf of the top management. No, yung mga decisions niya aligned talaga doon sa kung anong gusto mangyari ng top management. Third, determine fairly the rewards earned by the managers for their effort and their skill, no? So, yan, para they are fairly rewarded. So, palanggaon jud ang managers class para mo-act sila on behalf of the top management. So, these are the possible ways of evaluating, no, our manager sa mga investment center. So, first is yung ROI or return of investment. So, it is a performance measure used to evaluate the efficiency of an investment or compare the efficiency of a number of different investments. So, kasi pwedeng i-check mo na like for example, pwede mong para ma-determine kung sino yung pinaka nag-perform, pwede mong i-rank per ROI yung mga branches, for example. So, pwede yung ganun. So, advantages of ROI, it is easily understood and has gained wide usage. It is comparable to interest rates of returns of alternative investments. So you can compare, no, na is it worthy to pursue this particular investment or is it better to just um put the money to some other investments which will give us higher returns, no? So yan. What about the limitations of ROI? So although ROI is widely used in evaluating performance, and this method is subject to some criticisms. It results to disincentive for high ROI units to invest in projects with ROI greater than the minimum rate of return, but less than its unit's current ROI. So ito yung formula ng ROI, no? Net operating income. So meaning this is before tax class, divide average operating assets. So ito yung alternative formula for that. So when you say net operating income, that's sometimes referred as EBIT or earnings before interest or and taxes. So it is generally used because it is consistent with the base to which it is applied, that is the operating assets. So when you see operating assets, these are those assets that are earning, no? Sabi natin, mga productive assets, mga earning assets ng company. So that includes cash, accounts receivable, inventory, and then PPE, no? And all other assets held for productive use in the organization. So yan, ito yung again formula for ROI. So of course, the higher the ROI, the better, no? Or the parang mas okay yung performance ng manager na yun. So residual income naman is the net operating income that an investment center is able to earn above some minimum return on the operating asset. So most probably there is what we call may sinet siya, no? Na specific target amount, and then sumobra yung income, no, na report ng entity. So generally, the larger the residual income figure, the better is the performance rating received by the division manager, no, or that the manager of that responsibility center. So what's the advantages of residual income? So the unit pursues an investment opportunity cost as long as the return from the investment exceeds the minimum rate of return set by the firm. Thirdly, the firm can adjust the required rate of return for different risks and types of assets. Then it is possible to calculate the different investment charge for different types of assets. Okay, so what are the limitations of residual income? It is not as intuitive as ROI, and it may be difficult to obtain minimum rate of return. So ito yung formula ng ating residual income, no? So yung operating income mo or yung EBIT mo less the minimum required return, operating assets times the rate of return. So itong rate of return usually given, no? That is parang dapat yan yung um, minimum na return, no, ng isang investment as set by the company. So yung residual income yung sobra doon, no? So naka-income ka naman sana, no? Naka-return ka naman based on what was set by the management, but you are doing better, no? The manager is doing better if yung meron pang sobra, no? So yung operating income niya ay sumobra pa sa minimum as set by the top management. And then lastly, you have your economic value added or EVA. So EVA is a business unit's income after taxes and after deducting the cost of capital. No? So we consider taxes as well as the cost of capital. No? Yung ginamit mo para makapag-invest ka to this particular business unit. So the cost of capital is usually obtained by calculating a WACC, no, or weighted average cost of the firm's two sources of funds, no? Borrowings and selling stocks. So, kasi most probably class, yung ginamit na pang-invest, no? Sa mga business units are either galing sa borrowings, no? Sa mga creditors or galing sa mga shareholders, no? In the form of yung nagbenta ng bagong shares yung corporation, for example. So the main advantage using EVA is that it focuses managers' attention of creating for shareholders by earning profit greater than the firm's cost of capital. So EVA is computed as the net operating income, take note after tax na ito, minus the invested capital times the WACC. So meron tayong alternative formula here, operating income after tax less desired income. No? So the desired income is computed as the total assets minus current liability. So if you can see here, that is just parang ano siya, hindi rin working capital, no? Kasi yung kinonsider mo dito total assets, pa yung dinidak mo, current liabilities lang. So multiply natin by WACC. So most probably you're just computing for the amount of your um, long-term liabilities and your equity kasi most probably yun yung mga amounts pertaining to mga financing, no? Kasi yung asset mo nga, it's either um, financed by creditors or shareholders. And yung long-term lang, no? Hindi kasama yung mga current liabilities kasi yung current liabilities naman ay results na lang ng operations ng company. Okay? So, yung difference na yan, that's your economic value added. Okay? So, may sample tayo dito, si Image Company, a printing division or the printing division of Image Company. Ito yung mga cost and expenses na incur niya in 2018. So meron direct materials, direct labor, factor overhead, which is fixed, selling and admin, which is also fixed, no? So during the year, the division was able to print 400,000 copies. It is charged an average of 4 per copy. The digital's investment and decision amounted to 2 million. So yan, ito yung investment cost niya. So this amount increased by 800,000 at the end of the year. So digital normally computes interest on investments at 18%, an average of invested capital. So first, compute for the rate of return in investment for 2018. So ito, ROI. Your EBIT divide your operating assets. So EBIT is, kano yung EBIT niya? 520,000. So ito na-compute. So yung sales natin, then you have your variable cost here. So this is your contribution margin. These are your fixed costs. So yung operating income natin before tax is 520,000. So yun yung ginamit dito sa um, pag-compute ng ROI. And then divided by your total investment. So which is or average operating asset, which is beginning plus end. So saan kinuha yan? So sabi dito, beginning balance daw na investment is 2 million and then it increased by 800,000 at the end of the year. So meaning, at the end of the year, naging 2.8 na siya. So 2 million plus 2.8 divide 2. Yun yung average operating assets natin. So you have 2.4 million. Sorry. So you have 2.4 million. Yun yung average operating assets natin. So, yan, na-compute ang ROI, no? 21.67. Letter D, what about residual income yung kinompute? So, operating income mo minus the minimum required rate of return. That's the average operating asset times the cost of capital or the WACC, no? So, which is already given. So, the residual income here is 88,000. What about EVA or economic value added? So, you have this is after tax. So, 520,000 natin. Say for example, the tax is, yan. In letter C pala, what if the WACC is 10% lang? Then the tax rate is 30%. So, what is the division's economic value added? So, kung ang tax rate is 30%, so meaning 30% of or meaning 70% na lang of the 520, no? So that's 520,000 times 70% na lang dayon class, no? Kay para net of the tax na. So you have 364,000. So that's 520 times 1 minus 0.30. So again, this is 70% here. Net amount or net already of tax. So you have earnings after taxes is 364 minus we have average operating asset times the WACC. So ito na-compute kanina, ito given na. So you have the economic value added of 124,000. Okay? So there's two more videos for this particular topic class. So itong revenue center is nasa part 2 na video. Okay, this is the end for this video and see you on part 2. Bye.